Hi everyone, welcome to Things Lucy Reads. I'm Luce and this is my October Plan With Me video. Once again, I'm very behind, but I think the theme matters more than the month, so I'm not too worried about not uploading this on time. So I usually do like a generic spooky October theme. Last year I did one that was like very spring vibes, pastel witch, just because I was sick of all of the seasonal imagery being completely inappropriate for the Southern Hemisphere, because we all know it's Northern Hemisphere supremacy, which sucks when you don't live there, but it is what it is. But then again, with this one, I went back to just generic Halloween colours with a little bit of a twist. So I usually do orange, green and purple when I'm doing a regular Halloween spread. But for this one, I did orange, green and royal blue because the only K-pop band that I follow, which is ATEEZ, released their latest album in October, and green, orange and royal blue were the colours of the different versions of the album. So I thought that it would be fun to do a little nod to them with the colour scheme for this month. So I did. So this is an adaptation of the calendar spread I always do. I visually based this theme on my October theme from 2019, which you can see a little bit of there on the left. And so instead of having like boxes with just a coloured line across the top, I have these coloured in rows that separate the different lines of weeks. The spacing on this one is also out of whack a little bit. So usually the whole square for each day is 6 by 6. These ones are actually 6 wide and then 7 long, including the coloured in row at the top, because I can't count. So if it looks a little bit out of whack, that's why. And again, my head is in the frame. One day I will get a handle on that and stop showing you the top of my head, but it is not this day. So green for the coloured in rows, orange for the days of the month, and then I think I did most of the titles in blue, or maybe I'm completely wrong about that, and as we go along in the video I'll be proved wrong, but we'll just find out. So for this I was using Staedtler Fineliners as always. I had 2 Anko brush pens, which unfortunately you can't get anymore, but I'm sure they have similar ones at the moment as well. I had 1 Tombow brush pen, that's the orange one, and then I also had these glitter markers from Smiggle, which looked really great as I was setting it up here. Like there's glitter in the ink, so it comes out all sparkly, but I can tell you that there's no glitter left in them now. I think the blue still is a little bit sparkly, but both the orange and the green are not sparkly at all. So unfortunately, don't recommend these ones, but all of the other pens that I used in this video were really good. So green and orange for the outlines there, and then I did all of the actual like writing in blue. And then this is just my ZipPay tracker, which I always do because I always have so much owing on my ZipPay. In my defense, this was Christmas shopping, is what this was. So I can't be held accountable for this because it's mostly for other people. So there. Not that I need to justify my purchases to anyone, because I am a whole ass adult and it might not look like I'm financially responsible, but I promise you I am, mostly. So that's the ZipPay tracker, always looks the same. I don't remember what colour I was intending to colour it in with, but I ended up using blue, but that's probably not what I meant to do when I was planning this out, but it is what it is. So just birthdays here in blue. I had to check how old everyone was turning because I have holes in my brain and a terrible memory. So that's why there's no ages there, but they will show up eventually. And then again, so this is my TBR and my red page. As always, we're following the same general aesthetic theme as the calendar page and the same information on this page as well. So title of the book, date I started, date I finished, and what I rated it, which is how this usually goes. And I think I did do all of the titles in blue. And then again, my monthly allocation for Pages of June, which I abandoned after this month because the movie is not the whole book. If you didn't know that, now you know that. I don't know where it cuts off, but it's not the whole book, which I wish I'd known before I started hauling ass to finish that book before the movie came out. If I'd known that I didn't need to do it, I wouldn't have tried so hard, but oh well, it is what it is. I'm now most of the way through, so finishing it off won't be as much of a big undertaking. There is that, at least. And then this page is my book haul, probably. Yep. So, date I bought it, title of the book, type of the book, ebook, audiobook, or physical, and how much I paid for it. As always. And then I'd forgotten to put the title on, or hadn't yet decided how I was going to do it, and then decided to just write it fairly neatly. Oh, no, I didn't use blue for all the titles. There we go. I've proved myself wrong. I alternated. So, and then I'll do green down the bottom for red. Oh, no, I won't. Okay. I've been made a liar. The titles are in glitter pen. That's the only definitive information that I can tell you. So this looks like my BookTube schedule again. It's the same as December. Books to film, books to edit, videos to film, my apologies, videos to edit, and videos to upload. For this one, with my video ideas that weren't set in stone yet, I just penciled them in down the bottom, and then like I said in the previous video, in November I actually created a separate video ideas spread just to keep track of all of those. But the spread has actually been really useful and it's worked out for me really well, so I'm probably going to keep it. I really like it. And then this one is the same as the film/upload schedule I did in the previous month, but again, this doesn't really work for me because I don't schedule my filming. I basically do it on the fly whenever my parents are out of the house, or when one of them is out of the house and the other one is in a different part of the house. So I can't really plan that. It just happens when it happens. So for November, I still have a page like this, but it's done just a little bit differently. But for this one, you put the days and the dates in the middle, and then whether you're filming on one side or whether you're uploading on the other side. And then it just helps you keep track of what needs to be done on each day or when you have videos coming out. So I have found it partially helpful. It's just that I don't schedule my filming. So I don't need to have the film side on it really. But I did fill it out, which you'll see at the end of the video when I do the after the pen flip through. But I mostly did that just so I remembered when I filmed something. It wasn't that I planned it in advance. I just would film something and then write it in so that when YouTube asks you what date a video was filmed, I could tell them. So. And then the mail spread, this is 2 pages again, because again, I did all my Christmas shopping early, so I had a lot of mail coming. And that was plus general online shopping that happened in lockdown, because I was getting the government money, which was a huge help to me, and it actually ended up being more than I generally earn at my job. So I had a lot of money, which was well, I was able to bolster the local economy, which was mostly what I was doing with this. I was buying stuff from small businesses and helping them out in the difficult time because I all of a sudden had the spare money to do so. So I feel no guilt about all the things that I bought online. And again, I don't have to justify my spending habits to anybody because I'm an adult and I don't pay any of you to be my financial advisors. So it's literally none of your business. But yes, I did need to leave 2 pages for my mail because there was so much of it. Once again, for November, I've only left 1 page. Just because I've done all my Christmas shopping now, I don't really need to order that many more things, and I think I can probably get a handle on it. And I've also changed how I do it. So usually anything that hasn't arrived in the next calendar month, I rewrite it for the mail tracker for that month. But I've decided to not do that. If I already have it written down somewhere else, I just leave it there and fill it in for that month. I don't do it twice, which has saved me a lot of space. Not that I run out of room in my journals, but it does make it easier if this month I can probably get away with November, I can probably get away with only one page for the mail, but we'll see how that goes. So then I decided to use this cute washi tape, which I believe I got from Washi Gang. I will link it down below wherever I got it so that you can check it out for yourself. And it did kind of, I don't know, I chose it because like ATEEZ's thing are pirates, and then for this album they've gone into another dimension, so it's sort of like space travel, but I don't really feel like the vibes of this month ended up being quite what I wanted. But it looks okay, so I'm not mad. So this is just the preliminary flip through, all I did on that initial day. And then I realized that I'd forgotten to do my self-care page. So this is a different day. And you'll also see that I went back and stuck some more stickers on after I'd filmed the last portion of this video. And this one was after the beginning of October. I went to tick something off my self-care page and realized I didn't have one, so I had to sit down and do it, and decided I would film it anyway. And of course I had to flip back to the previous month to work out what dates I needed to write in my little squares. And once again, just in case you're new here, self-care is like my to-do list, except I just prefer to call it self-care than a to-do list. And it's not just things for myself, it's things for my room, things for my house in general, updating my phone if there's a new update out. It's things like washing my car, pumping up my tires. Self-care is not just my body, it extends to the things that serve me every day as well. So my environment and my phone and my car and that kind of thing, maintaining all of those counts as self-care in my opinion. So I write them all down here. And then I just put whatever date I need to do the thing in the little box. And when I do it, I check it off. If I don't do it on the original day that I plan, I just write the new date above the box and fill it in anyway. Sometimes I'm a few days late with things, especially flossing. I hate doing it, but I know that I need to, so I just kind of push through. But sometimes I don't do it on the date that I've written down. Sometimes I do it 3 days later. And then, so for this page, I just tracked just a few things I want to get done before the end of the year. I don't actually know if I'm going to manage them all, especially considering I've got, 3 Shanxia shows on this list. They're all really long. So, rip. But it's, I'm going to attempt it. So that first option there is to read Blood of Elves, which is the first full novel in the Witcher series, and it's what the second series of the show will be based on. And I started reading it last year, I think, but didn't actually finish, but I want to get through it this year. So I'll have to do that next month pretty quickly because the season comes out on December 17. So got to get my skates on. And then I want to finish watching Legend of Fei, which is, like I've said, a Shanxia show that's like Chinese historical fantasy that I've started watching, and it was really good. And then I also want to finish Eternal Love of Dream, which is the second season of Eternal Love. And then I think the next option there is read Dune, just because, it's watch Modao season 1. So that's the anime, which is not what they call it in Chinese, but it works out to be the same thing. Don't come into my mentions and police what language I'm using, because I've said anime instead of donghua, I think is the Chinese word. It's the same thing. Stop being so pretentious. So I started watching that one as well while I was watching The Untamed, which is the live action version of the same story, but I never actually finished watching it, and now there's 3 seasons of the anime, so I need to finish that off. But that one is low stakes. I can always do that next year instead of this year, but I do want to finish at least Legend of Fei or Eternal Love of Dream before the end of the year. And then I also added onto this list read Dune. I can't remember if I do that in this video or if I just added it on later, but because that stopped being something that I was doing every month and something that I just wanted to work towards slowly, I put it in this list instead. And then I've also added another one for watch Exandria Unlimited, because I didn't watch that as it was coming out, but now that season 3 of Critical Role is out, I have to watch that because some of the characters from that are also in Exandria Unlimited. So I've seen some of that and it's really good. I'm loving it so far. Opal is my favorite. And that one, at least, I think I can probably finish by the end of the year because there's only 9 episodes. But as for the rest of these, I feel like I might have been a little bit over ambitious, but I guess we'll find out. And again, like, it doesn't really matter if I don't meet these goals by the end of the year. I can always do it next year. Like, everything's still going to be there. It's not like the Witcher season 2 is going to disappear. None of these shows are going to disappear off YouTube. Like, everything is going to be there still. I just, will have failed a little bit in my follow through, but that's fine. Like, there's no pressure. It's more a reminder than anything else. And you can see my current progress on all of the things. It's not very much, but it's something. The problem with Eternal Love of Dream is just the beginning is a lot of filler, and we haven't actually got to the bones of the story yet, which is a bit annoying because the bones is what I'm interested in. At the moment, Dijin is just poisoning everyone with his bad cooking. Like, how many episodes can we drag this out for, really? Okay, so this is the after the pen flip through. You can see it all filled out. It's very chaotic. I didn't overshoot my haul page. And that's everything all filled out. Looks pretty good. All my stickers. I will link them all down below if you can get them. If not, I will just link the shops. So yeah, you can see I've added Read June there. That's all for this video. Thanks very much.